if you're feeling like your energy is going to a little bit of a nose dive at some point during the day, just take one hand and just stroke up from your pubic bone to your chin, and then take the hand out again. Don't go back down.
I smiled because I could imagine how that might put me up. Hello, 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 and welcome to Moving Through Menopause. That's 3 full hellos from me today. And so there are 3 of us in the room talking all things energy today, how we can boost our energy levels, why our energy levels might be feeling a little bit depleted at this time of the year. And remember that you can join us for more menopause mayhem on the Moving Through Menopause Facebook group. Do join us, come along, sign up, let's get to know one another. And speaking of ladies that I happen to know, I've got 2 ladies here with me today. Claire Ottewell, amazing medicine woman, and June Tranmer, our resident acupuncturist. So welcome, ladies. Thank you so much for giving your time today.
Hi.
You know, something that people often talk about is the fact that whenever they're having a holiday from work, that this suddenly sometimes come down with something. And you hear so many people say this, it's when I stop that something will catch me. It's this time of year when lots of us are stopping all at the same time. In the summer, it's not quite the same, is it? Well, does anybody have any insight into why that might be a phenomenon? June, what do you think?
Well, I was going to say, when you were introducing us, being the season that it is, 3 wise women.
Oh, you got it in one.
Well, I hope so. We have bits of wisdom. I'm not saying I'm completely grown up and wise yet, but I've accumulated some knowledge. Let's put it that way. My observations from over 35 years of working with people, especially women. I have a large number of men too, but mostly women who tend to push ourselves a little bit much because we have high expectations and a lot of things to juggle, and we're never just doing one job. We have at least 2, if not 3. In terms of running a house, I'm saying that is a job. Bringing up children is a job, even though it shouldn't. It's done for love. I believe it should be recognized. But I think what happens is we hold on to things. Is what's going on. We keep going, we push ourselves, we keep going, and then we stop, and then the body goes, oh, you're giving me a chance to clear out some of this stuff that you've accumulated, because I'm very much a terrain philosophy person.
Okay.
And if we nurture our terrain, our being, our equipment, the body that we've inhabited as a spiritual being, it will do its job and it will tell us what it needs and what it wants. But we go, shut up. No, I can't listen to you right now. I'm too busy. Go away. Leave me alone. And then eventually we stop and it goes, right. Okay. Now you can do the clearing, whatever way your body chooses to do it. You'll digestive wise, respiratory wise, migraine wise. That's when a lot of people get migraines, is when they stop for the weekend. It's not the body trying to sabotage your weekend. It's your body taking the chance to say, you needed to slow down before it got to this point, lady. Just listen to me. And maybe we learn. Hopefully we learn.
I mean, I think that's right, isn't it? We spend so much of our time out of our bodies, not inhabiting that being, and certainly not listening to it. Claire, what do you think?
Oh, I'm 100% with June. I'm also another believer of terrain therapy. And I do think that it's really important to pick up the signs that your body is giving you and recognize them for what they are, and to place a lot of importance on the physical aspect of health so that you can continue to do the things you want to do. It's all about balance, really. But let's not overlook the fact that this time of year is the time for hibernation and rest, and everything in our culture is set up to deviate us from that as much as possible, with all the bright lights, big city, spend, Christmas, Christmas, Christmas. And, you know, the natural inclination when it's this cold is to just literally curl up somewhere warm and rest. And a lot of people don't do that. So that is why this time of year is not only just the weather, it's a time for kind of, you know, bacterial warfare, because people just have ignored their bodies. So it's really important.
Yeah, I think that's right. And it isn't just something that we should be doing at this time of year. It's something we should be doing all year round. But to acknowledge the seasonality, you know, as you say, there is no doubt that this is a time for hibernation. Those comfy pajamas and the dark nights, you know, that's really all you feel like doing, isn't it? And I find myself feeling that way too. You know, you talked around the fact that we need to tune in a bit more to how we're feeling, and then to acknowledge and maybe investigate that a little bit. So, you know, how can we do that a bit more, do you think?
Well, I'm busy telling everybody who listen to me to do my self-care techniques from kinesiology, and running around the meridians just to keep them loose and flush. You know, the meridians are not supposed to be stuck, and we get pain, we get discomfort, and we get illness when the meridians slow down or get stuck for whatever reason. So if we do the meridian brush, I have a little video of this now, and I also have a video of me doing it on my friend. But yeah, it was just to show people how to do it on another person as well as on yourself. And I think that's really, really lovely, just to keep the energy flowing and smooth things out. Stop things getting tight and loosen them off. I think it was either Thich Nhat Hanh or Deepak Chopra who said, if you can't meditate, just take a minute. Just a minute to pause and breathe. And then I would also add in, hold your forehead. Just slow down, and in between jobs. You know, if you finish one thing, don't go rushing off to do another thing, as we tend to do. Or two things at the same time sometimes, or more. You know, so take a breath.
You are a traditional Chinese medicine trained acupuncturist, aren't you?
Yeah.
Hence your talk of the energy pathways that are called meridians. And so the energy flows around, all the meridians are connected to one another, and the energy flows around all the meridians, and and when it gets to the end, it just starts again back at the beginning.
Yep.
And the energy flows in a particular direction. So
yes,
and so I'm assuming what you're talking about is brushing the skin along the root of the meridian in the direction of the travel of the energy. Is that what we're talking?
Yes, and the easiest one to do is from the pubic bone up to the chin. And that just perks you up. If you're feeling like your energy is going through a little bit of a nose dive at some point during the day, just take one hand and just stroke up from your pubic bone to your chin, and then take the hand out again. Don't go back down, because that's switching it off.
Oh,
yes. Go up and out. Yeah, just gives you a little bit of a perk up.
Oh, okay. I smiled because I could imagine how that might perk me up. The conception vessel, that is called, isn't it? The one that travels.
It is, or the central meridian, or, you know, it's various different names.
So, well, I like that tip, Claire. What do you think about that?
Well, yeah, spiritually, that makes perfect sense, because you're drawing up fire energy from the sacral chakra up into the throat chakra, so passing through the solar plexus and the heart chakras. So absolutely, it's like root energy. In fact, I'd say start at the feet and draw energy up from the center of the earth.
Yeah, that's the kidney meridian, starts at the sole of the feet. And if you want to stay grounded, send a root down from the sole of your foot, right in the middle there, root down through. It doesn't matter if you're on the first floor, second floor, however many floors up you are, just send a great long root all the way down into the ground, and you will feel immediately calmer. You will feel like a tree.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it, these parallels between the different Eastern traditions, because, of course, yoga has its own energy pathways called nadis, which correspond, I'm sure, in similarly to the meridians. I certainly see parallels in the work that I do, so that we can access those energy pathways with touch is one thing we're talking about. Through visualizations is another route. And it was interesting, you were talking about the front of the body, because energy yoga poses to stimulate energy for the most part involve opening and lengthening through the front of the body, heart opening poses, and like cobra on the floor and such like. So there are a lot of parallels, interweaving of these different philosophies, and none is right and none is wrong, and they just work so beautifully together is the other thing.
Fit. Yeah, they fit.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? So
you doing that reminds me of the caduceus and the symbol of the two serpents around the staff. It's an ancient medical symbol. I mean, doctors used to always use it, but that made me think of the spine and the energy that in yoga they raise up the energy up the spine, and that's the governing vessel at the back. Comes out through the perineum, but we're not going to get technical. And you go up and over the top of the head and to the nose. So that's the partner at the back to the central at the front. Yeah.
So we can use touch, we can use movement, breath work, kind of on a cellular level. I know that you need oxygen in all these chemical equations that take place in the cells. We need oxygen, that molecule. And that's not coming from food, is it? It's coming from through the lungs into our bloodstream. You can access a huge amount of energy with through only breathing. And of course, yoga has so many different ways in which we can approach breathing. Alternate nostril breathing is one that can help us with our energy requirements. That's right.
I love that one. I love it. Do you want to teach people how to do it?
I'm covering what is my right nostril. It might look like my left nostril. And so you exhale all the air out through the left nostril. So your mouth is closed, and then inhaling through the left nostril. Can't help closing your eyes really when you're doing this. And then you pause briefly at the top and then swap. So I'm plugging my, what is my left nostril now, and then breathe out through the right nostril, and then breathe in through the right nostril. And just do a few cycles of that breath. You're calm in a moment. That's what I love about it, how quick it really can act so quickly on the brain and on the energy levels. Actually, when I was doing my yoga training, we did a breath which is inhaling over the rolled up tongue.
That's lovely.
Not everybody can do this. It's a recessive gene, but anyway. And you sort of inhale across the top of your tongue. It's called a cooling breath, and it's interesting because you really feel that cool through the tongue. And I was high as a kite after doing that. So, we don't need any of these substances, do we? We just need to breathe oxygen into our lungs. The other thing, we do need food, obviously. There's no doubt about that. And so nutrition, is a source of energy. Of course it is. And so what kinds of things... Again, I suppose we talk about seasonal eating, don't we? Yes, that's important. What sorts of things are going to help us with these struggles with energy? Have you got any ideas, Stu?
Well, I was just talking to somebody earlier today who has been told by an Ayurvedic practitioner the same as I told her, actually, which was really quite interesting, for her menopausal symptoms to avoid the red wine. So she said, I think I might have some mulled wine.
And then breathe in through the left. And just do a few cycles of that breath. You're calm in a moment. That's what I love about it, how quick it really can act so quickly on the brain and on the energy levels. Actually, when I was doing my yoga training, we did a breath which is inhaling over the what's that tongue called? Oh, the rolled up tongue.
That's lovely.
Not everybody can do this. It's a recessive gene, but anyway, you can. And you sort of inhale across the top of your tongue. It's called a cooling breath. And it's interesting because you really feel that cool through the tongue. And I mean, I was literally high after doing that. Yeah, thank you. I was high as a kite after doing that. So, you know, we don't need any of these substances, do we? We just need to breathe oxygen into our lungs. And and so, you know, the other thing, we do need food, obviously. There's no doubt about that. So nutritionally, Claire's having a bit of trouble with her signal. Do forgive you. We forgive you, Claire. It's not your fault. And if you, she's back. There she is. And so nutrition, you know, is a source of energy. Of course it is. And so what kinds of things, again, I suppose we talk about seasonal eating, don't we? Yes, that's important. What sorts of things are going to help us with these struggles with energy? Have you got any ideas, Stu?
Well, I was just talking to somebody earlier today who has been told by an Ayurvedic practitioner the same as I told her, actually, which was really quite interesting, for her menopausal symptoms to avoid the red wine. So she said, I think I might have some mulled wine just before I start doing that. And I said, okay, double hot, that's spices and the red wine. And I said, but you know what you can do is you can say, I'm actually choosing to eat and drink things that are good for us. That's the thing that I would say, rather than say, I'm not having this, I'm not having that, because then people will be tempted to encourage you to rebel because they like doing that. Oh, just go on, just have one, just have one. And it's like, you know, be a bit naughty. And it's not being naughty, it's being kind to yourself to eat the things that are good for you, rather than the things that everybody is busy doing, which are sugary, overheating, and, you know, bloating for that matter. You know, it's just all of those things that we want to kind of not feel like. And then that's partly why people feel so bad at Christmas, because they've eaten loads of things that they didn't really want to eat, but they felt they had to, you know.
Yeah, well, you know, you make a really good point that people are often trying to help us to sabotage ourselves or encourage us to sabotage ourselves. And I really like what you just said. It's not that we're denying ourselves. It is only that we are trying to be kind to ourselves, and our friends and nearest and dearest could be encouraging of that. That would be, you know, and supportive of that. Yeah. And, you know, and so it is important for, like you say, to frame it. I'm not denying myself anything. It's merely that I'm looking after myself, and, you know, and so support me in this. Now, Claire, you're back. And I was just thinking energetically, the aromatherapy oils is something that can really help us with this. Do you know what, Claire? I spilled a whole load of peppermint oil in my kitchen a couple of days ago. For 2 whole days, the kitchen was very strongly smelling of peppermint oil. But tell you what, I mean, I like it anyway, so it didn't bother me. But that's one, isn't it, that can help with our boosters? And
I bet the cat didn't like it, though.
I was going to say, I'll keep the cats away.
Cats aren't great with peppermint, but
I thought of that.
Yeah, just toxic. So just be careful.
Well, it was an accident that I had.
I don't know that, but if they've been wandering through it and then they lick their paws and stuff.
Yeah. Okay, thank you for letting us know that.
So essential oils for this time of year to shine a light in the darkness, we would be looking at bergamot. We would be looking at the citric oils, especially in terms of lemon, because we would be wanting lemon to help us cope with the heavier diet, because lemon is incredibly beneficial for the liver and blood health, so cholesterol levels. And also, if you do drink too much or overindulge, it's going to make it more comfortable. It's really good for digestion, constipation, just the whole gambit, really. And also colds. So it cuts through mucus. So It's really, really powerful. So yeah, other citric oils, and obviously oils like ginger and rosemary are incredibly good at this time of year for making you feel warm. The combination of those two together are particularly good for circulation. And if your circulation is flowing really well, your energy is flowing really well, you might be less inclined to want to stuff your face full of things you shouldn't eat because you're feeling comfortable within your skin. What else? Obviously, things like frankincense are very very common at this time of year, and myrrh and orange, another good one. These are all very spiritual oils, and they're really good for just making that connection to the divine. Herb wise, if you want to drink a drink that's going to make you feel good, the herbs at this time of year are things like St. John's wort, to shine a light in the darkness, calendula, which is marigold, German chamomile is another sun herb, rosemary. You can drink that, fresh rosemary from the garden, really nice with some hot water. Obviously, ginger, cinnamon, nutmeg, all of those things are really kind of, and definitely orange as well, really good for this time of year. So that's why you see these things recreated in religious ceremony and things like the Christingle service, with oranges being the kind of representation of the earth. And it's because orange brings beauty to the soul and manifestation.
I love the oranges with cloves in them. It's so beautiful. I've done one.
Look at that orange.
Oh, it's a little clementine, but it's
it's doing the trick.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And you know, cutting that up, drying it in the oven, and putting it on the Christmas tree as decorations. I've done that before, and you know, makes everything smell fine and keeps you clear, as in disease-free, and uplifts you, which motivates your system, brings energy, makes you feel good. Your terrain as well.
Your terrain is all is well in your terrain. I suppose the other thing is that if you do feel yourself coming down with something, you know, there are things we can do in the early stages before something gets hold of us to try and combat that. And I'm just thinking about the vitamin C that I might use.
Vitamins is another really big one, as you say. Mega dosing vitamin C and zinc is really good.
And D.
Well, B, C, D, E, omegas. If you have
GHI,
you don't want to eat all those fatty things because you'll be getting your fats. You need your Bs for basically managing your emotional self and your blood level. You know, there's lots of things you can do, but vitamin C are really good for warding off colds.
Well, lots of lovely suggestions there. We can energize the body with touch, with movement, with breath, with nutrition, with aromas, the very powerful aromas of essential oils and herbs. Drinking the rosemary is a lovely copper, I must say. So thank you, ladies, so much for your time today. It's wonderful to catch up. And so remember, you can catch up with all of us in our Moving Through Menopause Facebook group. Come on down and we'll talk more about how to boost your energy levels, stay healthy and look after yourself. And so thank you, and stay warm, and we'll see you again in the new year.
See you next year.